Well, hello YouTubers. Wanted to make a video on a device that I purchased about 6 months ago. And it's the Garmin Dezlcam 785 LMT-S. It's the, is it this? I think it's either a 7-inch or 8-inch tablet. It doesn't say on the box. I don't recall which that it is. But I'm going to tell you some of the things I like and some of the things I don't like. Let's start with the power cable. The power cable, as you can see, it says right there, Garmin. Their branded device. Let's see if you can make that out. Oh, right there with the light. Anyways, you can see there is a lot of these power adapters will normally have a fuse in here. And then you would screw this off. If it were to blow, you screw this off, replace the fuse, screw back on. What has happened to me in the past, many times in the past, is this eventually gets loose and you go and you pull it out to put something else in, and all the crap inside here falls out. The spring goes one way, this little nub goes another way, and something eventually always gets lost. So there's probably a good idea that this is sealed, except that if there's a fuse in here, it's going to blow. Let's see. There's something there. It's not. I didn't even look at the screw. No, that's just the light. So there's no way if there is a fuse in here for you to replace it. You just have to toss it and get another one. It's nice and long. That's one good thing. So you can put it anywhere you want. Now what I've been doing, and I'm glad I took this out of the truck so I noticed this today. What I normally do is to plug this into the side, then I wrap it around all the excess around the back. But as you can see, that plastic part is broken. So eventually, in fact, the wire is exposed. So I'm going to need to replace this. It's good that it's on a right angle, but I didn't realize how fragile that was going to be. It doesn't get moved around, so it's just the stress of just being there in place. Maybe the truck bouncing a little that's caused it to break. The other thing that I don't like about this, if you look at the power cord plug there, you can see this is the old not micro USB, macro? I think it was called macro USB. I don't remember. Anyways, we haven't used these in years. Very few devices, if any, use this. Modern devices use this anymore. For the people in their 20s and younger, you may not remember, but there was a time when all the different devices from the different manufacturers all had different plugs, different adapters. And what ended up happening was, I think it was the mid-2000s, the European government said, enough is enough. We want one standard plug. And that's when all the manufacturers came out with a micro USB. Since then, all devices have had this. And what has happened was, because they were doing it in Europe, it's easier just for them to make one adapter, and the companies started doing the same thing in the United States. Now, most devices have converted over to USB-C. Where's my USB-C? Here we go. USB-C. There we go. The only exception to that would be, of course, Apple, which they've got I think they call it Thunderbolt, which, if I'm not mistaken, is basically, it's a USB-C turned inside out. Just to be contrary, because of course they want you to buy their adapter, their power adapter. or one that they've licensed. And that's why all the companies had different ones in the past, so you'd have to buy theirs. And I'm assuming that's why Garmin has gone with not only sealing this, but also having this on there. They don't want you going out and buying a micro USB or a USB-C. I wish it was at least a micro USB, but there's good and there's bad. Now, that portion, that power adapter, plugs into the base. The device itself does have a micro USB port, and it does power and charge the device. The problem being, it does not keep the device operating. What happens is, if you, and I know because I tried this, if you do not use the other power cord, if you only plug into here, the device, like I said, will charge because there is a battery in here. And you put in your address and you start driving. A few minutes down the road, you look over and hey, I haven't heard anything. You look over at the screen and it's black. It's black because the darn device powered off. Even though there's power plugged into it, it powers off. Ridiculous, I think. The only way to get it to stay on and keep operating, keep telling you where to go, is by having it attached to the base and having this plugged in, powering it, even though it has a full battery. Ridiculous. Now, let's see if you can get there. Whoop. All right, I gotta hide my face, otherwise my camera focuses on my face and doesn't give you a good view. Anyways, this is an Android tablet skinned with the Garmin interface. So it gives you the ability to connect to your phone, Bluetooth to your phone, so you can answer and make calls from the device. I don't bother using that. One second. It's got a way to what they call Smart Link, Garmin Smart Link to your phone. I don't use that either, again, because I don't connect Bluetooth. There's some dispatch and track devices in here. This would, I guess, is something you would use if you had multiple trucks. I'm a truck driver for a company, so I don't use that. It's got the settings button. It has an IFTA. It keeps track of your miles as you cross over each border. So if you're an owner-operator and you need IFTA, you can get that information right from your device. Has a place for you to put in the service history. There's a system update. Oops. There's a dash. This particular model has a dash cam in it. I don't recommend you getting this with a dash cam in it, even though I think, oh, I can have one thing in my window. My problem is that sometimes when I try to watch the video later, for whatever reason, the video is really jittery. I don't know why it does that. When it first started, I thought it had something to do with the road conditions, but it's not. And I know that because I've actually gone in at a point where I knew, in fact, the darn thing just turned off, where I knew I wasn't on a bumpy road and the video was jittery. It doesn't do that all the time. And maybe with an update that would fix it. In fact, I haven't checked it in 4 months, probably. So maybe they fixed it already. I just don't know. But I would not recommend getting a camera in it. You can get a separate camera. That way, too, if something breaks, you only have to change. For example, if the camera breaks, you only have to replace the camera. If the camera were to break in here for some reason, your device is either worthless if you wanted to have it integrated, or you've got to go out and buy another device to get a camera in it. And then it also has a thing for e-logs. What they've done here is they've created a device that they've tried to do everything, which would be great. if they did the one thing really, really well, and they don't. Navigation. That's the thing that they should be doing very, very well. I'll give you a good example. A couple of days ago, I was in Wisconsin on the 94 interstate traveling north. I had gotten off the freeway because I wanted to go down to a truck stop and get something to eat. This particular bridge that I had gotten to where exit where I got off at, you had a choice of turning right or turning left. And the way it was designed is, instead of crossing the eastbound traffic and then turning left, you turn where the eastbound traffic normally would be. And then you get about halfway across the bridge, and then there's an X. And there's a signal light, and it switches you over to the right-hand side. And the other traffic coming the other direction switches over to the other side. So it makes it easy. You don't have to cross over traffic if you're going onto or coming off of the freeway, in other words. And because, of course, the GPS doesn't know that I'm going to go down the road to the gas station, it's trying to get me to go back. So as I made the left and it did the recalculation, it told me to go to the next signal light and make a right turn, which would have been basically a U-turn in a semi-truck. And yes, this is a semi-truck GPS. There's no way that I can make a U-turn on a bridge in a semi-truck. In fact, even with my pickup truck, it would have been a difficult turn. Just to give you an idea of how sharp this turn was. So, and that's not the only time that it's given me bad directions. I'll give you another example. Coming down the 5 in California, southbound on the 5, approximately 30 miles before you reach Bakersfield, there's a Pilot Flying J on the east side of the freeway. And so I'm navigating using the device, heading south again on the 5, and I want to go to that Pilot. Again, the device doesn't know I'm going to go to the Pilot. So when I get off on the freeway, it starts recalculating. What it normally does, as I recall, as soon as I get off and start going up the hill, it tells me to go to the signal light, make a left, then make another left to go north on the 5, and then it's going to have me go up to the next exit, come around. Well, what it should be saying is continue across the intersection and get back on the freeway, dummy, because you missed your exit or you got off the wrong exit. That's not necessarily a big deal, but here's where it gets worse. So I go ahead and I make the left because, again, I'm going to the truck stop, pass the northbound lane. So then, of course, it recalculates again and then sends me down the road 6 miles and then comes back around and get down on the freeway farther up, heading southbound again. So to bring you back around, come back on a different entrance to the freeway. That's okay, because again, I know where I'm going. I'm going to the Pilot. So I make the left going to the Pilot. The GPS here is not very accurate because sometimes it'll think that I'm on the freeway when I get close to, as I turn into the Pilot. Now, I go into the Pilot, I get fuel, get food, whatever it is, I'm going to the bathroom, whatever it is I do, and I go to come out. Now the GPS, as I come out, will see that I'm coming to the road. And then to get back, and at this point, to get back on the freeway, what you would do is you make a right turn, go to the intersection, make a right turn, and then go onto the bridge, either north or southbound, depending on where you're going. In my case, again, I'm still going to be going south. But as I come out, instead of telling me to make that right turn, this GPS, 9 times out of 10, will tell me to go to the intersection, make a left, go down the 6 miles, and then come back around. So, again, I already know where I'm going, so I go to the intersection, I make my right, and then make the second right, heading towards the freeway. Now I'm heading towards the freeway. It'll recalculate again, and you would think that, that it would say, continue across the bridge and make the left to continue southbound. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It'll tell me to go north again, go up to the next exit, come back around and get back on the southbound. Why would I do that? As I pass that northbound entrance, it will recalculate again. Again, you would think it would say, oh, I see you're still going south, so just turn left here. That's not what it does. It tells me to pass it and go 1 or 2 miles down, make a U-turn and come back and then make a right. And these are not isolated incidences. It has done that many times. If you're on the 40, go into the 44. If you're heading east on the 40 and you need to go to the 44, be ready, because it waits to the last minute to tell you. If you don't see the sign, if you're distracted by something else, you might miss the 44, because it literally waits until the last minute to get you to go over it. And there are many other ones. I've had problems in Georgia. I think one in Alabama. I won't go into all those different issues, but it is a GPS. It does work relatively well. Another issue that it has is it has problems for some reason finding addresses that have multiple names. If there's a name, a space, and another name in the street. And it's not consistent. It's not always a problem. It's only a problem sometimes. And a good if I remember right, there's a was it Walmart or Costco? I think it's a Costco warehouse in Georgia near the 285. It's got 2 names in the street, and for whatever reason, it never finds it. And I think the way I was able to get it was only put in the first portion of the name, and then it finds it. And when it shows up with 2 names with a space in between as a selection. So why it can't find it the way, I don't know. And again, that's a problem throughout the United States. It's not just that one address, because I've had other addresses where it's the same thing. But there are addresses that have 2 names with a space in the middle that it does find. So I don't know what the issue is, but it is an Android tablet, so you do need to keep the maps up to date, and you need to keep the Android up to date. Now, let's see here. What does it have on now? When I first got it, it had Android 6. It probably still has Android 6. Yeah, it does. Initially, I thought, what the heck? But when I bought it, we were up to Android 11, 10 or 11. Now we're about to go into 12. So yeah, so it was 11. So we're getting ready to go into 12. I thought, well, what the heck? Why isn't this up to date in the Android version? And for those that don't know, the reason you want to stay up to date is as time goes on, just like with Windows, we're not still running Windows XP. Why? Because people have found vulnerabilities in those systems, and in later versions, they've corrected those security holes and made fixes. The same thing goes for Android. But then I realized it really doesn't matter necessarily with this device. Why? Because it's not online. So somebody can't access it and screw up my, like if I had it connected to Bluetooth to my phone, they can't access it that way and try to get into my phone, get my contact, get my data, my bank information, or whatever. Now, anyways, where I was going with this with updates, you can go in here just like an Android tablet, connect to any Wi-Fi, and download updates. You can also do it with your phone. If you, I'm looking at my phone. For my phone, I'm using it as a camera right now. Anyways, where I was going with this is you can turn on the hotspot feature on your phone, then tether the tablet to your phone and do the update that way. Just understand you're going to use up your data. So whether if you're paying extra for your data, you're going to be possibly paying it if it's a lot. For example, here's something that happened with me. I was doing an update and the update failed. The problem with that, it was updating the maps. There's not enough memory in here for it to have the current map and the new maps that you're updating. So when you're updating the maps, it erases these maps. So if that fails, now you got no maps. And which I had, so I drove around for 2 weeks without my device because it didn't have a ability to update it. And what I ended up doing was I went into my cell phone company's store, connected to their Wi-Fi, and downloaded 7 gigs of data to fix the maps. So if something does happen during your update process and you find out that it crashed everything, just connect to a Wi-Fi port. If you don't have one available, again, go into your cell phone company, explain to them you'd like to hook up to their Wi-Fi within the store. I've never had a problem doing that when I've been in a store when I've tried to do something in a store. And in this case, I was looking to buy a device as well. So in my case, I had plenty of time to be waiting for this to update and be able to get that taken care of. Once, of course, it downloaded the new maps, no more problems, except for the problems that I've already explained. There was another issue I was just thinking about. What was it? If you don't know, it is recommended that you go to a Wi-Fi connection somewhere and update this device because they do find errors in their maps and they will fix those. There will be security holes, which again only matters when you're connected to the device with your phone, but they do correct security holes as well. So you do want to take this and connect it to a Wi-Fi somewhere about once a month so that you can get those fixes, especially for the maps. If you're traveling all over the United States, you want to have maps that are as good as possible. Now, one feature it does have that I've never used, it does have, just like Google Maps, it will try to route you around traffic. Now, that's not in the tablet itself, or at least the connection is not in the tablet. It has to be connected or tethered to your cell phone in order for that to work. So what happens is Garmin must be running a server somewhere that keeps track of all the accidents. Maybe they get that information from Google because Google also does that. And then they will send it to the tablet. But again, that only works if you're tethered to the phone. It does not work without that feature, without that functionality. You can see there are ports there. This is for charging. This also tells it when it's connected to the base so that it doesn't turn the screen off. Otherwise, like I said, the screen will turn off. And I think it just depends on how you set it. It's either 30 seconds or 2 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that. It does have a speaker on it. So that you can hear the navigation person talking. That also gives you the ability, if you wanted to, you could use this. Let's see if I can get a good light there. Right there is a place where you can put in a micro USB. So if you had some movies or music on a micro USB card, you could put these in that, put that in here, and then be able to again, if it's music, play music while you're driving, or while you're stopped, you can watch movies on this. I have my phone, so I do all that on my phone, and I also have a tablet that I can tether to my phone, so I do that again on I watch my movies on my tablet or my phone, not on here. And one of the things what I was mentioning about the maps, I just don't understand why You know, this particular one, if I recall correctly, was $500. Now, if you know anything about Android tablets, this tablet did not cost them $500, and the Garmin software doesn't cost $500. You can buy a regular household GPS for under $100, I believe. So why do they charge $500 for this? Because they can. I think. Oh, I know where I was going with that. So anyways, where I was going, because I paid $500 for this, there should be enough memory in here to hold the old maps until the new maps are updated, and then the new information is downloaded or integrated into the maps. Then it can throw away the old maps. There's no reason that Garmin couldn't do that. Chips that have for memory chips are very inexpensive. You wouldn't know it if you were to buy a cell phone, because they usually charge $100 each time you bump up to the next level. It doesn't cost them anywhere near that. It only, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, it's pennies, under $1 to jump up to the next. But they don't want you to know that. They charge you $100, $200 for it or whatever. That would also another thing about this is the front bus is not fast enough. It takes too long sometimes for it to find the addresses. Sometimes it just sits there. You're like, and you can see it 1%, 2%, 10%, 30%, and then it gets to a certain percent. Usually it gets to like 99%, and then it just sits there. You're like, okay, you only got 1 more percent. How difficult can it be? For what? And I'm talking about when it's calculating the route. So I don't know if that's a problem with the processor, if it's a problem with the front bus, or if it's a problem with the memory. But for $500, I think it should work really fast. Now it acquires the satellites almost instantly. It's really good at acquiring the satellites, but the brains that runs this is not fast enough. Most of the time, I guess that's not going to be a problem. It's only a problem when you're calculating your route. Is that it? Oh, let's see if I can show this here. If you want to go in and retrieve some of the video. I haven't done this in a while, so it might take me a second to remember how to do that. What was it under? Let's see if it's under settings. Dash cam. All right. So there's just like on a Android tablet, there's a button here on the screen. I can't, right there, like the home screen. You tap it and it brings up all the selections of the different functionality that's available. You can see there's the dash cam, there's the gallery, which is where I'm going to be going, and all the other features that it has that are available. Gotta keep my face behind here so I can see, so you can see it. Anyways, so open the gallery. Dash cam recording alerts are disabled while you're viewing, obviously. Okay, let's see if you can see that. Okay, so it does have the videos, all the individual videos in here, and you would just select one. It's hard to believe that Mint Mobile can be good. It just and $15 a month. 2 minutes and 29 seconds.
I brought in one of our first and oldest customers, Wasim McNavy. Welcome to Mint, Ryan. So you've had Mint for years. Any issues?
I don't know why it's not showing. Oh, there we go. Well, let's choose a different one. I don't know what. All right, here we go. Here's one. In fact, that must have been an event because you can see the red exclamation mark. So there must have been a bump on the rotor. Oh, I almost forgot. It has the ability to watch the lanes and let you know if you're drifting. It also has the ability to tell you that you're about to have a collision. The problem is those features don't work very well. What I mean by that is that red exclamation part is probably because it thought that we're drifting or we're about to hit something on. But there's nothing there. And at one point I thought maybe it has something to do with shadows or whatever. I don't know. But just like if you've got a truck that detects that, like the truck I drive is a Freightliner, and it'll tell me I'm about to have a collision and there's nobody in front of me. So it's not perfect. Neither is this. And I assume initially I thought it had something to do with vibrations or something like or no, actually I'm thinking of something else. Anyways, that it's using the camera, which is there, to see objects and or see the lines to let you know about the drifting. But for whatever reason, it doesn't work very well. And actually, this is new. This wasn't here previously, having the map here. So this actually tells me where I am in the video. So this must have happened during the last update that I hadn't noticed. And so right now we're just sitting there not doing anything. The truck is not moving. We're at a truck stop. But for whatever reason, it thought this was an event because you saw it had the red exclamation mark. As you can see here, there's no exclamation. But all these others are exclamation marks. Now, again, I haven't looked at these videos in probably 4 or 5 months. One of the problems I've had was when I did have an issue, I had difficulty finding that video. For example, I came to a business and the guard got belligerent with me. And I wanted to go back and check the video and save the video in case something came up, I could show it to my boss. Well, I was never able to find it because it's really difficult. Now, again, this does look different than what I've looked at previously. So it is possible that they've made a correction. And if somebody has one of these and they know how to find a piece of video in here. Oh, actually, here's a good example. This one says March 6th, 2021. This one says February 23rd, 2021. These are events. But this is a continuous recording when it's running. It's always recording segments. And then it saves them to the memory that's inside of here. What happens eventually, though, when the memory gets full, it starts at the beginning and re-records over those old videos to make new videos. Well, which means that there should be a whole bunch of videos of the last time this truck was driving. But there's not. They're not there. All we've got here, we got events all the way back here, December. Yeah, back to December 21st, there are events. And events, again, are when it thinks there's an accident, it thinks there's a hard braking or something like that. But there's no video. Like here, this says March 21st. What's today? Oh, I got my phone up there. Today's the 24th. Today's the 26th. I was in this truck driving on the 24th. Where are the videos from the 24th? See, they're not here. There are none. There should be. So how that all works, I don't know. They should be saved to this until I delete them or they get re-recorded over. Yeah. So I'm kind of blathering on. I think I've covered everything that needs to be covered. Oh, except for, would I buy this or would I tell somebody to buy this? If you're a brand new driver, you probably should. You're gonna obviously want, if you're a brand new driver, you're gonna want to make sure that you know how to use your Atlas. But this is faster than the Atlas, of course. But this does, of course, make mistakes sometimes. It will tell me every now and then. It'll tell me go down a street that I shouldn't go down. Every now and then, like I told you, it gives me a turn that I can't make, and it's a little wonky with the remembering where to get back on the freeway sometimes. But as a new driver, probably a good idea to buy one of these. If you're an experienced driver, I guess that's really up to you. It's probably not a great device for somebody that really knows their way around. You can probably get away with cell phones having navigation on them. It's probably a better idea for you to use your cell phone for navigation for anything that might come up. Because of course, being an experienced driver, you know where to look for the signs that say, "Hey, no trucks." Even though Google doesn't, you know where to look. So that would be my recommendation. If you're a brand new driver, you're going to want to have something like this. It's going to be much faster, especially if you're doing like something that I was doing. Now I'm doing the same thing over and over again, so it's not a big deal. But this is something like this is really good for a brand new driver who's going to places for the first time and different places all the time. Because if you're not going to the same warehouses, if you're not going to the same stores or whatever, you're probably going to want to have something that is easy to use and very quick. Because we all know we get paid by the miles that we drive, not by the time we're behind the wheel. And there was something else that I was just thinking of that I was going to tell you, but at the moment, I know what it was. It's probably a good idea if you're going to run this to also run Google Maps on your device. And the reason for that, unless you're going to connect to your tablet with your phone, Google will tell you, hey, there's an accident 5 miles up. But if you get off here, you can take the frontage road for 5 miles and get back on the freeway. This device, unless it's connected to the phone, doesn't know that. Here's something else that I've noticed. This device will also many times have the street sign or the freeway street sign that tells you when you're going to get off. It'll tell you get off at exit 32 or whatever, and then have the name. It'll have a picture of the street sign on here so that you can compare it as you're driving. Oh yeah, that's the one I want to get off at. Well, this device is not as good about knowing the names of the streets. And the perfect example of that is many times you're getting off on in many cities, you'll get off, let's say you're going out to Main Street. Well, Main Street is the street that you're going to, but it's not the exit lane. So it'll tell you to get off at Main Street, exit 32, and but the sign will say Johnson Street. Well, that's because the street you're getting off onto is Johnson Street, but you're going up to Main Street. Whereas Google is very good at knowing when the street name is different here than it is going up farther. And where that comes into play is the street signs themselves sometimes will have a different name on them than this will say. And that's because of the street you're getting off is the street that's on the sign. And then again, as you go farther up, you'll have the street where you're going to make the turn. So it's good to have them both running. Basically, your Google Maps is your backup. And also, like I said, it's very good at knowing about accidents and detours and things like that, which that device will not know about. The Google, your phone is also much more accurate. I can get off in an exit and go halfway down the exit, and this will finally, oh, you got off when I'm supposed to go straight, when it wants me to go straight, because that's the route I'm going. But again, I'm getting off to go to gas station, or grocery store, whatever. Google's much faster at picking up, hey, you've taken an exit. Maybe it's because I know there's a quicker way to get around or whatever. Whatever the reason, Google picks it up really fast. This does not pick it up nearly as fast. So other than that, I think that's about it. Thank you for watching my video. Comment below if you have any answers to some of the questions I've asked. This video is way too long, so you may not even got this far. Have a good day, YouTubers.